Chicago Bears are no longer just a feel-good storyline or a team people casually mention, talking about potential in the future. What's happening right now feels different, heavier, and much more real. For the first time in a long time, the conversation around this franchise is shifting from doubt to belief, from waiting to arriving. You can feel it in the way the team plays, in the confidence on the sideline, and even in how the rest of the league is starting to talk about Chicago. This is no longer about moral victories or flashes that disappear the next week. This is about substance, direction, and a foundation that finally makes sense. There's been a lot of noise over the years, and much of the criticism aimed at this franchise was earned. Bad decisions, constant resets, quarterback instability, and coaching changes turned patience into frustration. Bears fans lived through cycle after cycle of hope followed by disappointment. That history matters because it makes this moment hit harder. What we're seeing now is not the product of shortcuts or luck. It is the result of a clear vision being executed with discipline, even when it was uncomfortable. The biggest shift has been the mentality. There is a different tone coming from the coaching staff and bleeding into the locker room. This team does not look like it is hoping things go right. It looks like it expects them to. The offense has taken a leap that cannot be ignored, operating with rhythm, creativity, and confidence. Even when there are missed throws or drops, the structure is there. The system works. The production backs it up, sitting near the top of the league across multiple offensive categories. That is not accidental, and it is not fragile. If there is one thing holding this team back from being universally labeled as elite right now, it is the defense. And even that needs context. Injuries tore through the unit all season, making it nearly impossible to see what this group could truly be at full strength. Key contributors missed significant time. Others were forced into roles they were not meant to carry, and continuity was never fully established. Judging the defense without acknowledging that reality misses the bigger picture. What makes this situation intriguing is that the Bears do not need to transform into the best defense in football overnight. They do not need to dominate every snap. They simply need to reach a level of consistency where they dictate terms instead of reacting. A defense ranked in the upper half of the league would fundamentally change the ceiling of this team. Pair that with an offense that can already go toe-to-toe with anyone, and suddenly the conversation shifts from competitive to dangerous. That is why this playoff run feels so significant. Winning a postseason game in a season that was still technically part of the build sends a powerful message. It tells the locker room that the process works. It tells the league that Chicago is not ahead of schedule by accident. And it tells the fan base that this is not a temporary spike that will fade once expectations rise. There is real momentum here, and momentum matters in this league. Now that momentum carries the Bears into a divisional round matchup against Los Angeles, a team that represents one of the toughest tests in the conference. The Rams are balanced, experienced, and fearless in big moments. They are capable of exploiting weaknesses if given space, especially against a defense that has struggled to limit yardage consistently. This is not a matchup that can be survived by talent alone. It demands discipline, communication, and adjustments on the fly. There is also an environmental factor that cannot be ignored. Playing in Chicago, in cold conditions, changes the texture of the game. It slows things down. It tests physicality and focus. Veteran quarterbacks with a history indoors do not always thrive when weather becomes part of the opponent. That does not guarantee anything, but it adds another layer that the Bears can use if they are prepared to lean into it. What stands out most heading into this moment is the respect between the coaching staffs. This is not a rivalry fueled by bitterness or theatrics. It is a chess match between sharp minds who understand what is at stake. Respect does not mean mercy, and it does not mean hesitation. It means both sides know that one mistake, one blown coverage, or one missed assignment can tilt the entire game. For Chicago, the path forward is clear but demanding. They cannot afford slow starts or playing from behind against an opponent this complete. They need urgency from the opening snap, precision in execution, and a defense that bends without collapsing. The second-half adjustments that showed up in the previous game cannot be a temporary version of this team. They need to be the standard. Everything about this moment feels earned, but nothing about it is finished. The Bears have proven they belong on this stage. Now, they have to show they can stay here, respond to pressure, and take the next step when the margin for error disappears. This is where identities are solidified, where belief either deepens or cracks, and where seasons are remembered long after the final whistle. What makes this stage so compelling is that it is no longer about projections or patience. It is about execution in real time, under playoff pressure, against a team that will not give anything away. The Bears are stepping into a game where every snap is amplified, every mistake is magnified, and every adjustment can swing momentum. This is the environment that reveals whether growth is surface level or deeply rooted. For Chicago, the challenge is not just matching intensity, but sustaining it when adversity inevitably shows up. The previous one offered a clear blueprint of what this team can be when it locks in for an entire half. The defensive adjustments after the break changed the flow of the game, tightening windows, forcing hesitation, and finally taking control of the tempo. That version of the Bears' defense did not simply survive. It dictated. The key now is turning that from a response into a baseline. Against Los Angeles, waiting until halftime to find answers may be too late. Offensively, the confidence is obvious. The quarterback looks comfortable commanding the system, reading leverage, and trusting his playmakers. The growth is not just statistical. It is visible in the pacing of the offense. There is patience when it is needed and aggression when the moment calls for it. That balance is rare, especially this early in a build, and it is why opposing defenses can no longer key in on one tendency and feel safe. What also stands out is the evolution of the supporting cast. Players who were once questioned are now becoming pillars within the structure of the offense. Routes are sharper, spacing is cleaner, and timing is no longer something that appears sporadically. It shows up drive after drive. This matters in the playoffs, where sustained execution wears down even the most disciplined defenses. On the other side, Los Angeles brings experience that cannot be discounted. They understand situational football at a high level. They know how to steal possessions, flip field position, and capitalize on mistakes. If the Bears allow long drives that end in points, even field goals, the pressure compounds quickly. This is where discipline becomes non-negotiable. Penalties, missed tackles, and communication breakdowns cannot be brushed aside as learning moments anymore. The physicality of the game will be another defining factor. Cold weather does not just affect passing. It changes tackling, grip, and stamina. Teams that embrace it gain an edge, while teams that fight it lose focus. Chicago has an opportunity to turn its home environment into an extension of its identity, leaning into toughness and forcing Los Angeles to match that energy snap after snap. There is also a psychological edge in being underestimated at home. Being labeled the underdog fuels a certain sharpness, a refusal to relax. This team has already shown that it responds well when expectations are low and stakes are high. The challenge now is channeling that edge without letting it turn into recklessness. Controlled aggression wins playoff games. Emotional swings lose them. The coaching matchup remains one of the most fascinating elements of this game. Both sides are capable of adjusting quickly, which means the margin between a good call and a great one is thin. This is where preparation throughout the week shows up on Sundays. The ability to counter tendencies, disguise intentions, and stay unpredictable could decide this game in the third quarter, not the fourth. For the Bears, belief is no longer theoretical. It has been tested and reinforced. The locker room knows it can win in this setting. That confidence, however, must be paired with humility. Every playoff game resets the scoreboard, and momentum from last week does not carry over unless it is recreated through effort and focus. This moment also represents a measuring stick for what comes next, regardless of the outcome. It shows how close the Bears are to being a team that consistently controls its destiny in January. The flashes are already there. The structure is already there. Now, it is about stacking complete performances, not halves, not quarters. As kickoff approaches, the noise around this team continues to grow, but inside the building, the focus narrows. This is about assignment football, trusting preparation, and leaning on identity. The Bears have waited a long time to feel like they belong in this conversation again. Now they are here, with everything in front of them, and the only thing left is to see how they respond when the game demands more than belief. What cannot be overlooked in this matchup is how quickly momentum can swing when both teams are aggressive by nature. One takeaway, one short field, or one explosive play can completely alter the script. The Bears have shown they are capable of capitalizing when those moments appear, but consistency is the separator now. Playoff football does not reward potential. It rewards the team that executes the small details repeatedly without losing composure. Another layer to this game is endurance, both mental and physical. The Rams are comfortable in grinded-out situations, and they will test patience with long drives and calculated shots downfield. Chicago has to be prepared to answer without forcing plays that are not there. Staying on schedule offensively and avoiding negative plays will be critical, especially early, to prevent the game from tilting into a rhythm that favors experience over hunger. There's also a sense that this game represents a checkpoint in the Bears' evolution, not a final destination, but a moment that reveals how close they are to becoming a team that expects to be here every year. The way they respond to adversity, officiating swings, and sudden momentum shifts will say as much about their future as the final score itself. These are the lessons that separate teams who visit January from teams who live there. Ultimately, the Bears are stepping into a moment where confidence meets reality. They have earned the right to believe in what they are building, and now they are asked to validate it against one of the most composed opponents in the conference. This is the type of game that shapes identity, tests trust, and forces growth in real time, with no safety net and no room for hesitation. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a shocking twist that could reverberate throughout the NFL, the league has reportedly acknowledged a monumental officiating error that may lead to the retroactive awarding of a major title. The implications for the Chicago Bears are nothing short of explosive, sparking feverish speculation among fans and analysts alike. Sources close to the situation suggest that the misstep in question occurred during a pivotal game that had long been considered a turning point in the season, and the league's admission is stirring imaginations about what could have been. For Bears supporters, this revelation is the stuff of dreams. The franchise, which has struggled to recapture the glory of its storied past, could suddenly find itself re-entering the conversation about elite teams in the NFL. Imagine the headlines if the Bears were officially recognized for a championship they were so controversially denied. What was once a footnote in history could transform into a defining chapter of the team's legacy. Analysts are already debating how this would reshape the perception of key players, coaches, and even past draft strategies. Could former stars see their careers retroactively elevated? Could certain games now carry a weight that fans never thought possible? Meanwhile, the league faces a delicate balancing act. Retroactively awarding a title is virtually unprecedented in professional football and could open a Pandora's box of appeals from other teams who feel similarly aggrieved. Yet, insiders suggest that the NFL is determined to act decisively to protect its credibility, even if it means rewriting history. Social media is ablaze with rumors, fan theories, and heated debates over the Bears' lost glory, while memorabilia collectors and sports historians scramble to reassess past records. If the Bears do officially reclaim this title, the ripple effects would extend far beyond Chicago. Ticket sales for future games, merchandise, and even player negotiations could see a sudden surge, as a team once considered middling is recast as a historic powerhouse. And while nothing is confirmed, the very fact that the NFL has admitted a fundamental error is enough to keep fans on the edge of their seats, speculating about a championship that might finally be theirs, albeit decades late. One thing is clear. In the world of professional football, history might be about to change forever, and the Bears could be at the center of a story no one saw coming. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.